Have this dangerous feeling, don't know what to believe in. Cause every time you touch me, I can't control my body. Oh, baby, you are on my mind, all I think about, and I don't wanna stop.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to a live conversation with Trent and friends, featuring the lovely Coach Dee. As promised, we said we come back and do a live for you guys here on this Sunday. We're having technical issues on the previous Sunday, and we thought we'd come back and do it. I couldn't get into it, and as you know, Coach Dee, she was with the shits as always, talking about, she knew she had me at an advantage. Let's just say that she had me at an advantage with that topic. Supportive partner, or are you in it for yourself? Supportive partner, or are you in it for yourself? Let's be fair and honest here. If I have a problem, we all should have a problem, and vice versa. If my partner has a problem, we have a problem. But in today's climate, it's not shaping out that way. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. Let's bring Coach Dee in. Hey.
Hey there.
You doing? How you doing?
I am good.
You know that cold, huh?
Yeah. Well, we got back from summer vacation. Had to go straight to a birthday party, and kids are little petri dishes of disease. So I picked up a little cold, and we're good to go. First day of school again tomorrow, so it's a busy day here.
Man, I was actually cringing as I was checking out the tape. I couldn't even cut it. The technical stuff was so bad on it. And you were going in. And I think you kind of slightly knew you had me at an advantage because I couldn't really get into it and had a ton of things going on with this equipment over here. And I was like, I really want to answer her back with this. And you started talking about the guys and, all this other stuff and vice versa. But
most of the time I have you at an advantage, though, so,
What did you say?
I said, isn't that true most of the time, though?
Knock it off. You know what? The viewers do say that. They always tell me that. Coach D being your ass. But I'm like, hey, you know what? After 20 years of friendship, I let her have her way.
That's the way it is.
Let her have her way. So let's talk about this topic here. Supportive partner, or are you in it for yourself? What's your thoughts on that? Ladies first.
Listen, man. After our conversation, I had some emails. I received some emails from some alpha males. And I replied back to one fool. I said, if you're an alpha male only among women, you're a bully. Because if you're an alpha male, that means you're an alpha male among men.
Right.
Because, the whole alpha male turn on was like, whatever, man.
Right,
as soon as you say that, I already know who you are. But, yeah. So here's my take. Most of the vast majority of the time.
Before we get into that, let's say hi to the folks real quick. One second.
I forgot I am on my computer.
Let's see it.
Yeah. So good day, Miss Kathy. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Kathy.
Good evening to you, too.
What's going on with you, Kathy? Yeah, actually, that's Kathy. I was on her show a couple of Saturdays ago,
Okay.
talking about. I think I told you about that Source
Yeah. Good.
Nation network there.
Yeah. And good evening to all our listeners and watchers who don't comment, because I know there's a lot more lurkers than there are commenters. So welcome to you
Exactly,
too.
exactly. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead, you could see.
so here's the thing. The vast majority of time, most people go into a relationship with the honest view that they will be supportive. But
Right,
here's the problem. Not everybody's done the work to be truly supportive,
exactly.
right? So it doesn't.
What does that look like when we talk about doing the work? Because we always talk about it here on the show, doing the work, doing the work, doing the work. But we also warn them, if you're going to do the work, make sure you're ready and prepared for that, because it's going to take a lot of self-reflect, a ton of self-reflect to deal with yourself. But what does
Yeah,
that look like, Coach D?
it's like figuring out what you don't know about yourself, figuring out what your toxic characteristics are, figuring out
Right,
what it is that you both negatively and positively bring to relationships. Because not
exactly.
all of us had relationships that mentored us, so to speak, that were good
Right,
examples of what a healthy relationship looks like. So
right,
you have to do the work and figure it out. You can't just walk into a relationship coming from a relationship where you were raised in survival versus love, and think that you
exactly.
could deal with somebody who was raised in love, because they work into very
Let's
different ways.
let's dig into that survival mode. Like
Yep.
your favorite debate guys here.
Well, good grand rising Melanie
Shout out to
people.
1026 for helping me out, checking the sound, doing the sound check. So we're back in business here on these live shows. 1026. Make sure the sound is right for us. Good stuff.
Welcome in, Mr. Slash. He says, Grand Rising Melanie people, good evening, Princess Coach D and Mr. Epic. Hashtag the future ep. I don't know what ep is. Anyway, so what it looks like is, if you're raised in love, that means you grew
Right,
up with supporting a supportive family system,
right.
right? Whereas if you were raised in survival, that family system was not supportive. You may have been physically,
Absolutely.
mentally, sexually, emotionally abused, right? So you're
Exactly.
going to bring all of that trauma into a relationship. That's like when I talk to my parents, when I'm coaching parents. How you are parenting affects how you parent your child, because it's a generational
Right.
cycle, right? So I
Totally
had this
get it.
discussion that people don't realize their past does affect their future, and if you don't deal with your past,
Absolutely.
it negatively affects it many times, because that's most of the time that your baggage that you're bringing with you,
Exactly. So
right?
let's bring in selfish partners, right? And I can
Mm-hmm.
speak on a selfish partner because I used to be a selfish partner. Complete self,
Well,
I was
so
self-centered. Everything had to be surround me.
yeah, because
Going into the
and
room, I
here's
took all the energy out of the room. Go
and
ahead.
here's the
What you say?
problem: society, the patriarchy that we raised in, puts men into a selfish position because they expect to be catered to. They expect
True.
all their needs to be met, but they've never
True.
been taught to meet anybody else's needs.
True. We got a
So,
comment here real quick from Kathy.
Ms. Kathy says, yes, doing the work is essential. Who are you if you don't know who you are? It will not work in any relationship you attempt to have. Yeah, Kathy's
Absolutely.
on the money.
Absolutely.
I like Kathy. A smart woman.
Good stuff. Yeah. So as far as selfishness, man, if your partner is actually, everything surrounds that partner and he's making decisions, or she, vice versa. If they're
Yeah.
making decisions, not thinking about the relationship, move away quick. Something's
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah, because a relationship is give and take. Like I was watching a TikTok, because we got stuck in Boston for 9 hours. So I was
Right.
watching a TikTok, and there's this guy who looked absolutely dumbfounded. He was asking this other guy, "What are your roles in your relationship?" And the guy's like, "What roles? If I need to see something needs to be done, I do it. If my wife sees something needs to be done, he does it." And this other guy just couldn't grasp the concept that there's equity and everybody does what they need to be done. Like, he doesn't need to
Right.
be told the garbage needs to be taken out if the garbage is full. He can see it, right? And
Exactly.
that's where a lot of people get caught up because people don't have those conversations beforehand.
Exactly.
And so
I
it
take it
becomes very
the only issue I take with females and when we're talking about selfishness, right?
don't, women,
Today's
don't say
climate,
females.
in today's climate, you see all these women online because
Mhm.
everybody's so open with things now. They're always talking about their personal need, but they never talk about the relationship, what benefits the relationships, meaning what benefits them both, not just one person.
Yes, but here's the thing: women's needs have not been met for generations.
I knew you were
Women's
gonna
have
come with that. I
well
knew
that
you were gonna come with that,
because
but
this is what's going on. This is why there is such a dichotomy of ideas right now, because men are looking at this. Well, I want to be catered to. I want to be the boss. I want to lead, and then women are like, "What?" Humans are the only ones who think that women are the weaker
but now,
sex.
come on, let's be honest and fair, Coach T. Let's be honest and
I'm going to
fair.
be very honest.
When we're talking about a need, and you can't in no healthy relationship, you can't place your needs before the relationship. That's not gonna work. That's an imbalanced situation. I know of a situation right now, where this guy pays 100% of everything,
Hmm.
every single thing. And his wife is so damn selfish. She's so
How is she
selfish to
selfish?
where she forgot about him in the relationship.
Well, how is she
Scratch
selfish?
that. She forgot about him and the relationship. Period.
How is she selfish? Answer the
What do you
question.
mean?
I
What do
I
you
need
mean?
I need an example because, and I'll tell you why I need an example. Because I have seen in case after case after case of people I've talked to where the husband comes in and goes, she doesn't care about, she doesn't love me. And the woman has been telling this man for years, this is what I need to do for this to work. But he doesn't listen because he's thinking about himself and only himself.
In this
So
situation,
that
and
is
we're not gonna call him
how
that.
is she being selfish?
How is she selfish?
Yes.
You ask me how do I think she's why how do I think she's selfish or
Yes,
why
you
do I
can't
think
just
she's
say
selfish?
you can't say somebody's selfish without backing it up.
She's selfish as hell because first of all, he's taking care of everything. She's selfish to me.
Hmm.
She's selfish to me that why you gonna be so inconsiderate? At some point, ask him how he's doing. Anything. I mean, come on, man. Men are simple. Men
Hmm.
are very simple. If somebody's taking care of your every need, cater to
Is
them a little bit.
be very careful there. Is he
Yeah,
taking care of every need or just financial needs?
you heard what I
There's a
said.
difference.
You heard what I said.
No, I did not, because obviously if she's being selfish, she's not taking care of every need.
In my opinion, she's selfish.
Okay. I would have to find out why exactly, because I'm sorry, but you tend to be a little biased. So I need to know where she's being selfish because it doesn't work that way. You're giving me one side of the story.
D.
And
Yeah.
and
Let's just
no, uh-uh.
let's create a
Isn't it men
scenario.
who want to be the providers? But then when you're expected to be the providers, you complain about being the provider. So you guys need to
Let's
make up.
no, he's not. No, here's the thing. He doesn't complain about that because he said his wife doesn't have to work. I'm like, you
Okay.
crazy as hell. I hit the floor. Everybody's getting out of here.
So
Come on, man.
where's the issue? There's something going on that he's not discussing, because there's more to it than she's selfish. There's reasons for it.
Let's
There's
let's
all
let's
reasons.
let's place this scenario on us, right? Let's just say you and I are dating.
Hmm.
I'm taking care of everything financially. Taking care of everything financially. But you're a little bit inconsiderate. You're a little bit selfish. You're making everything around you. You're a little bit self-centered. But if
Okay.
I'm taking care of D, I'm taking care of everything D needs, everything. D should be a little considerate.
But you're still talking
Shouldn't
money.
she?
You're
Shouldn't
still
she?
talking money.
I'm
No,
talking about healthy, mentally healthy, everything.
but that's
Shouldn't she
not what
be a
he
little
said.
considerate?
Here's the thing. What is the conversations that have been had? If somebody is forcing their boundaries, because if you ignore my boundaries, I'll be rude as heck and tell you it doesn't matter who's paying what. You have to respect other people's boundaries.
I understand
That's
what
why
you're
there has
saying,
to
but
be
I
a deeper
still,
conversation.
well, maybe they should, but I feel believe that if I'm doing all the monetary work and I'm
Forget the
doing all the
money,
mental
man.
work, come on, wait a minute, and I'm doing all the mental work,
Hmm.
you got to come up with something. You
What
gotta
makes
you
you
gotta
say
bring
that?
something to the party.
What makes you say she's not doing any mental work? We don't know her side. We might sit her down and get a completely different story.
Ladies and gentlemen, Coach D is
Somewhere
being
between the
very
two of them.
argumentative right now.
No, here's the
Coach
thing.
D.
You can't tell me one side of the story and then say the other person's selfish and not give me any information. That doesn't work. Because then we sit down with her and we get a completely different story, and then we have to figure out
I
where in
get
the
what
middle.
I get what you're saying, but it's just it's a very unique situation. Very unique situation.
Well, I don't have
And
enough information to say she's selfish.
I think in that relationship, more conversation should be had.
Uh-uh. Oh, you're too young. Thank you. Love you.
More conversation should be had in that conversation, but
Yeah,
that's just my personal opinion.
There's something deeper going on there. There's,
I'm sure it is.
People get.
I'm sure it is.
People. Here's the thing: people get caught up with, I'm spending this, but are they emotionally available? Are they a safe space? Are they vulnerable with that other person? Are they sharing their hopes and dreams? And
I get what you're saying.
bad days?
I get what you're saying. Me personally, I believe that both parties need to have a deeper conversation, but no one wants to really go there.
Yeah, because you could be paying all the
climate,
money and still be selfish.
In today's climate, man, people are afraid to see themselves.
Hmm.
They're afraid to see themselves, but that makes for a better relationship. If I can see you, that makes for a better relationship. If you can see me, that's perfect.
Yeah, but
that's called healthiness. That's called a healthy relationship. If you can see me and I see you and I accept all your flaws,
you need to do the work.
That's a perfect situation.
You need to do the work, man. That's the problem. People like to talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. You got to do the work.
Much.
You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
People like to say,
but
love
if you're an
America,
individual,
it's a choice.
I'm gonna say this, and I know I'm probably gonna get a little flack from this. If you're an individual in a relationship, there's no relationship.
No.
When I say if you're operating in an individual state, it's there's two sides to that individual thing when you talk about a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If you're operating as an individual in that relationship, a selfish individual, there's no need. You shouldn't even be in a relationship. Go to relationship away.
And both of them are probably selfish in their own ways.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So often, especially now, people do not like it when other people enforce their boundaries.
Exactly.
When people say, this is what I will tolerate, I will not tolerate anything else. People who are used to pushing boundaries do not like it. People who disrespect boundaries do not like it. I was reading about a lady who got married and there was one rule she had for her new spouse was don't much push cake in my face, which I think is a horrible tradition anyway. Anyway, this man grabbed her by the head and pushed her face full in the cake and had it planned, and it was planned out because there was cupcakes on the side. She divorced him right away. She wrapped up the wedding thing because he didn't respect her boundaries.
Wow. Okay.
That is a sign of that's like a huge red flag. If somebody does not respect your boundaries, it's a huge red flag. Huge.
I agree.
And too often people ignore those selfish red flags, thinking, "Oh, well, they've been single for a while. They're not used to being in a relationship." No, that's who they are. Was it Maya Angelou? Maya Angelou said, "Believe them when they tell you." Was it when they show you who they are?
Yeah, I remember that quote.
Yeah. But you know what? The problem is when I say being supportive, I mean somebody who is willing to step out of the limelight and allow their spouse to stand into it. Right? Because there's a lot of people whose egos or images get caught up in what they look like that they're not willing to allow their spouse to shine. Right? Because they're supposed
that's a touch of insecurity. If I can't allow you to shine, that's a little insecurity on my part. I'm a little insecure. If I can't allow Dee to shine, I'm very insecure.
It is.
I see no problem with allowing your partner to shine.
You see it all the time. The children will grow up, the wife will get a job or something, and all of a sudden she's doing amazing, and then they can't handle that because now she's making money. She's no longer under their thumb. She can do what she wants. I talk to a lot of people, and it's interesting because the same things come up again and again and again and again.
Right.
So when I say this is what I hear, I haven't heard this once. I've heard this 10 times, 100 times. You know, it's a common thing that comes up on a regular basis with people, and it's people are not supportive in a emotional availability is what people are lacking. It's what people are why people are getting
Right.
divorced so much now.
You know,
Is that
you
those
know,
person's not
I
there?
was thinking about this. I was thinking about this the other day.
Hmm.
We're in very tumultuous times, man, very turbulent times, and we're seeing what people are made of these days. We're definitely
Oh
seeing
yeah.
what people are made of.
Oh, definitely.
And
Yeah.
the majority of folks, let's just be honest, the majority of folks that we see every day, they really can't handle this climate.
Hmm.
And when you're going through a situation where you can't handle the climate that you're in, you're gonna make bad decisions. You make some horrible decisions. But a ton of people, man, can't handle the climate that we're in right now.
I don't know if
And,
it's so much they can't
go
handle
ahead.
it or they refuse to see it.
Both. I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of both. But what I find these days, no one's actually selling out to the relationship. They'll
Mhm.
sell out to them individual selves.
Yeah.
They'll sell out to their individual selves. They'll sell out to that all day long. They forget about the relationship. They forget that they're in the relationship.
Mhm.
But it's okay to sell out to the relationship. Sell out to the greater good of the relationship, especially if that relationship is healthy. Sell out to the relationship.
What does selling out to a relationship look like, though?
It looks like you're not selfish. You're gonna place yourself behind your partner. Let your partner just do what she do, and let her do her thing. As
Mm.
long as it's in a positive manner, allow her to breathe and give her the space, the room to breathe and do that and operate in that healthy space.
Yeah, both partners should be standing side by side.
I get
That's
that. I agree with that. I agree with that. But you still have to allow your partner to breathe in
Mhm.
that space along with operate in that healthy space. Create the
Yeah,
environment for her to move.
or him. Yeah, yeah, I
Exactly.
agree. Yeah, I
Exactly.
agree
But
with you.
these days, male and female, they don't sell out to the relationship, man. They don't.
That's because there's a lack of when people are not willing to be vulnerable. It's harder to put them in equal footing if they won't give you the same vulnerability you're willing to give them.
Exactly.
Right?
And
So if
honestly, to continue with the answering your question about what does a sellout look like? Being completely naked, placing all your stuff on the table for your partner, being very vulnerable with your
right.
partner, being open,
Hmm.
having an
Yeah,
open ear. And when I say open, I'm talking about open, open. I'm not just talking about saying whatever flies out your mind. Say it not. Be open.
yeah. You
Your
should you
innermost
should be
secret.
a judgment free safe space.
Exactly.
Right?
I should be able to tell you anything and everything that's on my mind or on my heart
Hmm.
without being judged.
Yeah.
But these days, people operate such in so much individuality to where it kills the relationship.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: Americans are taught individuality. It's a cultural issue,
I could agree with that.
right? Because remember, everything is all about the individual. Pull up your bootstraps. I did it on my own. So it's a hard thing for people who have been taught their entire lives
I
throughout
could agree with
school,
that.
culturally, socially, politically, that you are on your own and you make your own difference. That
Exactly.
you have to go in and be side by side with this person. Like our society is our own worst enemy.
My thing is, man, I mean, when you open up the conversation and let's just say open up the relationship
Mhm.
to a healthy conversation, it's going to be a fruitful relationship.
As long as you've done the work,
You
otherwise
know,
you're not going to be able to do that.
exactly. But the moment you start placing your needs before the relationship, that's a
Mhm.
problem.
Yeah, I
That's a
agree.
problem.
I
Go ahead. I'm
agree.
sorry.
No, I said I agree with you. The relationship should be beneficial to both people.
Exactly.
the
And,
relationship works.
that's all I've been screaming. It should be beneficial for both parties, not just one person. I did a random quote. I was walking Kobe in the backyard, and I got to thinking about this situation. Like I
Yeah.
know of a personal situation where this guy's in, what he's in, right? And if you're rising, if the person is rising and you're falling, that's imbalance. Something's wrong with that. If you're rising and I'm falling, that's imbalance. That's not good. That's not healthy.
Yeah, because
I mean, throw me a
something's off.
lifesaver or something.
Yeah,
You shouldn't be
something's off.
winning if I'm losing. We both should be winning.
Yeah.
That's not a healthy thing, man.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I totally disagree with selfish relationships. What about the relationship? That's what's called selling out to the relationship.
And there's always got to be individual accountability too. Why are you losing? Are you losing because of yourself, or are you losing because something the other person's doing? Because if the other
Exactly.
person's like holding your head underwater and you're trying to fight it, then that's a little different between somebody who's
Oh, that was so deep.
having
One
a
more
lot.
time for the people in the back who didn't hear it.
What's that? If somebody's holding your head underwater and you're fighting against it, that there's a big difference between that and somebody who's losing just because they're having a bad run or a bad luck or something's going on that they need to fix. There's two
Exactly.
different. Why am I losing? So that's where we have to take individual accountability of what's really going on.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, did you hear about that whole rumor thing going on with Steve Harvey and his wife?
Don't make the side chick your wife. What's the other one? How you get them is how you lose them.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
You
But
cheat
let's
on
be
her.
clear though.
You
Let's
cheat
be
on
clear.
his wife. So what goes around comes around.
Yeah,
I
if
saw it on
anybody's been following Steve, man,
whatever, man.
Steve knew she was from the streets. Steve knew she was for the streets.
I don't know. She's a
He
beautiful
knew she
lady.
was for the street.
So it is what it is. You know what I mean?
It is what it is. But most men, man, it's in their nature. I wrote a piece earlier today. It's in a man's nature, even though he knows she's from the streets. She knows she's from the streets and for the streets.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a man's nature to take a bite of that apple in hopes, and I say in hopes of that apple's, has a sweet taste to it.
Yeah,
In
that's
hopes that apple has a sweet taste to it. So it's in a man's nature to take the bite of that apple. It's bitter, but he's hoping and praying once he bite into it, it's good. But we know from the numbers, that's not gonna work out for you. You found in the street, that's where she's gonna go to.
Yeah,
She'll go
statistically,
back to
there's
the
like
street. You found in
one
the
in three
street, she's gonna go
chance.
back to them streets.
Yeah. So I hope you had a good prenup. That's all I gotta say. I'm sorry because nobody should go through that trauma because being
Right.
betrayed is a trauma. So I feel bad for him that he's going through that because it makes you question your choices and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
I wish him luck in moving past it.
Yeah.
But you could have
That
seen that
that
coming.
and honestly, I can speak on that because I was in a similar situation with my first wife. I was a complete dog, man.
Mhm.
And I was married one day, went right back to LA the next day. I was on a plane back to LA. And I was a horrible husband. Horrible husband. Ran a ton of women and all that stuff. But after that, relationship and done with, we both moved on and karma kept knocking until I answered the door. My karma came to pretty face and a round ass. But it kept knocking at the door until I answered it.
I don't call
So
it
I
karma
get it.
because karma is very specific to a religion, but I call it the universe settling the odds.
Oh, yeah.
Evening the odds.
The universe is gonna give you exactly what you dealt. Whatever you
Yeah.
dealt out to someone, the universe gonna give it back.
Yeah.
You will get
I'm
it.
Irish. We call it the power of three. It will come back in three. But
Exactly.
here's-
Slash has a comment there. One sec.
the streets are saying it's got to be a 200 milli settlement. Mr. Think Like a Man. JC said no one wins when the family feuds. Yeah, JC's right. And 200 milli? Oof, that's a nice little check.
Let me tell you something. I don't care if Steve had 400 million, 500 million. $200 is still $200.
Yeah.
You still gonna lose that money. Period. You still gonna feel it at some point. So,
It
for the
is what
people
it
that
is.
say, "Oh, he got it," Nah, 200 is still 200. I don't
You're
care
gonna have less of it.
if you have a billion.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's like Halle
But that's
Berry's
the
playing
price you make.
child
That's the price you pay for poor decisions, man.
Listen, get an ironclad prenup. Was it Britney Spears? That guy's not getting nothing.
Not a damn thing.
So you know what? And sadly, it is what it is. It's. I hate seeing relationships dissolve, especially in public like that, because it's such a
Right,
personal
right.
thing. And there's kids. They have kids too. I think they have kids together, don't they? Or are
I
they his
don't think
stepchildren?
so. He adopted her kids.
He adopted them. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're they're older, so maybe they'll stay in touch. But it's hard to tell. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on
Yeah.
that happens with that. And Slash says, "Oh, and Eddie Murphy said half." Well, I like Miss is it Ivana. Don't get angry, get it all.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's one thing about your dog. Your dog's not gonna betray you. I tell you that much.
So my cat went with my ex-husband, a little wench. My first ex-husband. Yep.
Well, after my breakup, Kobe stayed with me.
Yeah, didn't
No
like her.
shade.
But you know what? It is, you know, relationships are messy, and people need to have more conversations. Because people
Right.
have conversations and then they don't do the work they need to do, or they don't have
Exactly.
the conversation they need to have. And like,
And
yes,
that's
they're
the
difficult
that's the
conversations.
trouble with the relationship I was speaking of, right? That's the trouble with that relationship. No, everyone's afraid to have that conversation. Everyone's
Well, yeah,
afraid to be open. Everyone's afraid to open the relationship up. But once you open the relationship up, it's all good. It's
okay.
all good in a healthy manner. When you open it up in a healthy manner.
Yeah, can we refrain and make sure that we're talking about opening up versus conversation wise, so other people aren't like, "What's he talking about?" I'm like,
Exactly. Opening up the relationship conversational wise. So
yeah,
yeah.
because if you don't have those conversations, things fester and fester and fester, and what was a wet towel on the floor becomes "I hate you when you breathe." It's
Right.
just they increase over time, and what you thought you could ignore when you were heedy in
Wait a
love
minute,
and
wait a
you
minute,
were the
wait.
most perfect person.
Wait a minute. You know how this brain works.
What?
It has to catch up. Did you say I hate you when you breathe?
Yeah, that's. I know people whose relationships become so toxic they just can't stand being near the person.
Look at
And
Coach D coming in with the one liners tonight.
listen, man, I had to listen to those male chauvinist pigs, in a Zoom chat, and I was just like,
Right,
I'm
right, right.
y'all are driving me crazy.
Exactly. But I mean, and we've had this conversation over the last couple of weeks. Been trying to
Mhm.
do this thing live here, but man, this supportive partner are in it for yourself. Ton of people, man, that's selfish out here, and they need to know what that looks like. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like
we're in an instant gratification society. People want everything now on the moment. But
exactly,
some things take time, some things take work. Conversations don't always go your way, and you have to be good with that. And a lot of people aren't good with criticism or feedback.
it's like say I give you a scenario. If you're in a relationship and
Um,
you always come to me with your hands open like cups, every single time your hands open like cups, but you never say, "Hey Trent, how you doing? Is there anything I could do for you, or everything good with you in the recovery?" Or if you're constantly coming to me with your open hands like cups, that's an imbalanced situation there. I don't want it.
mhm. Yeah,
I don't want
and
nothing to do with it.
I know there's a lot of people like to throw out the word narcissist. There's not as many narcissists as people say there are, unless somebody's diagnosed in the DSM end. They're not a narcissist. They need a diagnosis. But there are a lot of selfish people. There's a lot of self-centered people. There's a lot of people who care more about me than we. So here's the thing. If you're dating somebody and you know that at the beginning, you're walking into that mess.
Exactly.
Right? You got to pay attention to who the person is at the beginning, because that person is not going to change.
And this is where you take responsibility for the toxic you allowed into the party. Mm-hmm. If you saw it and you didn't say anything, that's on you. That's not on that person.
Yeah.
That's not on your partner. You can't keep using that as a crutch. Oh, she did this. Oh, nah, man, you saw that shit.
Yeah.
You saw that. You got to take personal responsibility for the toxic you invited into the party.
Yeah.
You saw that.
If he or she doesn't respect boundaries in the beginning, they're not going to respect them in the end.
That's right.
It just doesn't work that way. And you can't make somebody else change for you. They need to do their own journey on their own time when they need to do it. Exactly. And a lot of people will be like, well, I'm doing all this great work. They need to do that. I'm like, maybe you need to have to do more work than they do, and they'll catch up.
Right?
And sometimes they'll surpass you, and you're like still doing the work and they're done. Right?
That's right.
So it all depends on that person. And I think a lot of times so many people ignore who they truly are to be who they think that other person needs them to be.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people end up ending relationships, and they're like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like to eat because I've always catered my needs around him. I'm like, girl, go to the grocery store and wander around and figure out what looks good and figure it out. Okay?
Right. Exactly. No, I get it. I totally get it.
But yeah, it's, everybody needs to find good examples of relationships that are healthy, that work. Like,
that's right.
It's just because somebody's been married 50, 60 years doesn't mean it's a healthy relationship.
Boom.
Okay? Doesn't mean it at all. I was away, I talked to some older folks, and older women, like, grandmas are great. I don't know if they tell their grandsons the same thing they tell their granddaughters, but I was talking to a friend's grandma, and she's like, never love a man more than he loves you. And what is it? I forget the other one she said. Always
what's your thoughts on the term? What's your thoughts on this term that people have coined, relationship goals? What's your thoughts on that? Relationship goals. When they're looking at other people's relationships goals. You don't know the inner workings of that relationship. You don't know what's going on in that place.
No.
You don't know what's going on in that house. How you gonna just, you know what I'm saying? How you gonna actually follow the blueprint of that relationship? You don't know the inner workings of that relationship.
Yeah, everybody thought Jay-Z and Beyonce was relationship goals. Steve Harvey and his wife were relationship goals. Those men all cheated. Jay-Z cheated. Marjorie cheated. Relationship goals should be the goals that you have for your relationship without any expectation of what other people have. Because Instagram and social media are a image cultivation system.
Absolutely.
Right?
Tell the folks what that looks like. Because I know they went clean over their heads.
If you're looking at somebody on social media and all they ever post is good things, that's an image. If you never see them post a bad day or talk about a bad day, it's all about image.
That's right.
Like people are like, hey, you're such a great mom. I'm like, have you read all of my posts? Because there's posts where I've said point blank that I screwed up.
Exactly. Right? And here's the crazy thing, man. In today's society, that's frowned upon. Being open and saying, hey, this is me. That's frowned upon.
That's because people are uncomfortable with honesty because it requires them to be honest as well. And not everybody wants
I was having a conversation with Slash as we were doing a sound check. Mm-hmm. And we got to talking about the recovery, right? And how some people look at me, they'll think nothing's wrong with me. Okay.
Right.
But the reason why, because hey, this is me. I'm giving you all of me. The reason why it looks like it's a cakewalk for me, because I don't complain in the process. I don't complain about it. This is what it is. I have problems with the left side. The left side is weak. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah. But I embraced it. That's why it looks easy, because I embrace it. I've accepted this.
Right.
But when you're running for something, man, you're constantly running for something, and you want to put all these filters up. Nah, you're gonna get all this.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
thought I was crazy when I said I want to bring the podcast back.
Right.
I want to do it. I want to do it on video. But I really, all this was done on purpose. Every single thing was done on purpose. The whole layout, everything. Them seeing the bed and on the other side of the suite, all that was done on purpose. They needed to see what real looked like.
Yeah.
If I'd have been pretending, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, everything's fine. I could actually move this left side perfectly fine. No, I can't.
Yeah.
You know, that goes for anything. That goes with these relationships. If you're pretending in that relationship, 9 times out of 10, that relationship's gonna fail.
Yeah, because well, here's the thing. Was it you that told me 3 months and you're still talking to the representative and not them? Right? It takes like 6-9 months to actually get to know who the person is.
That's
like,
right.
What makes them tick? What, like,
sometimes longer than that.
Like, I know
if he's a good liar, sometimes longer than that.
Oh yeah, I know women who've their husband has never seen them without makeup on. I'm like,
wow,
girl, you get up before he does, and she's like, yeah, because he likes makeup. I'm like, man, you know what? That's dedication, because I ain't doing that.
That shit's deep. That's deep.
It's messed up, man, because what's the image she has of herself without makeup that she refuses to allow him to see? Like, think about that.
Exactly.
That's
but my question, the better question is, what's cracked inside of you? What's cracked inside of you that you're doing that? Well, all that is it's a nice, pretty egg, but it's slightly cracked on the inside.
Here's the thing: there's that relationship. I'm trying to get her to leave it because he's emotionally abusive. That egg was never cracked before. When I met her in college, that egg was not like that.
Gotcha.
But now,
gotcha. Slash has a question. Slash has a question. Wait.
So to the ladies, were you supportive partners? Listen, man, you don't even know how supportive. Being supportive is what caused where I ended up. Because my ex-husband does a lot of events, right? He's life coach as well. So he would go on event after event. And I'm like, hey, have fun. Give me a call. Tell me how it goes. All this stuff. Because I had Xavier and everything like that.
Right.
He found him a little event bunny to take on his little trips with him. I'm like,
hey, but you know what though? And I'm not trying to defend Kevin. When I was out there in those streets, man, and traveling the country, traveling the bar, speaking, it's a different thing when, like with my audience. My audience was let's just say 95% women.
Listen,
it's tough, man. That's some pressure, man. If you have to have some super loyalty with your partner, not to give it to, don't bite the apple.
4,000 months a minute says it's a choice, sir. That's a choice.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
4,000 minutes a month on the phone. It's a part-time job, man.
I forgot how technical you were.
Nah,
but honestly though,
women. There are plenty of support. I have seen so many supportive women who have put their husbands through medical school, put their husbands through law school, did the corporate events, did all the event planning, did everything, and then after 20 years, they dump her.
Because I've seen some cases like that.
Right? I've seen some cases like that. Yeah, here's the problem. The problem isn't being supportive. The problem is the selfishness of the partners. Because you can be as supportive as all get out. If that person is self-centered and selfish and is all about them, it don't matter.
Right.
It don't matter at all. Right? Yeah. And here's the thing. I will still be a supportive partner for whoever, if I ever decide to be somebody's partner again. Because that's who I am.
Do you think you're actually gonna tackle the dating world again?
I do occasionally. But I have very strict rules, and I have, I have boundaries, and I don't play games. And I'll tell you straight up front exactly what's going on. So the honesty and the authenticity, I find that people in my age group are not appreciative of.
Right. Here's my issue with that. I don't think, it's very tough for me because, for me personally, once you reach the high level of self and you're completely aware of yourself in a healthy manner,
Hmm.
it's tough to take bullshit to
Yeah.
allow anything into your vortex, man. You know what I'm saying? Your tolerance level become very, very, very low,
It does. Yep.
very low. Once you reach the high level of yourself, you're not dealing with no bullshit
Oh yeah.
at all.
And then I'm told my standards are too high. I'm like, yes, they are. If you
Yeah, I've
can't
been
reach them,
told that.
if you can't reach
I've
the
been
standard
told
to
that.
raise yourself up, or
But
keep it moving.
it's nothing personal, man. But it's nothing personal. I don't think I'm perfect, but
Hmm.
I love me.
Yeah.
At this stage in life, I love me.
Hmm.
I've reached a higher level of myself. I'm off to a different realm,
Yeah.
and I'm not taking bullshit.
Yeah. Because once you reach that level of peace, it takes a heck of a person to get past
Exactly.
that.
You
Yeah.
become very overprotective of your peace. Reach that. I'm talking about. You always see people talking about peace. But when you truly reach that peace, you're gonna be very overprotective
Yeah.
of your
Yeah.
peace and your surroundings and who comes into your space. You're gonna be very overprotective of that.
Mm.
I'm talking about
Oh,
family
slash.
members, romantic relationship, friendships, everything. But
Yeah.
you have to do the work to get to that point. You have to do the work. So I'm not sitting here. You seeing all these lights and cameras, and I'm not sitting here on a high panel of judges here. I did the work.
Yeah.
I
You
did
have
the work.
you have you have to do the work because after any type of long term relationship or divorce, you need to heal, and you need to heal
Exactly.
properly and figure out who you are and what you're bringing that is negative or positive, so that you don't bring that to somebody else. Okay, like not nobody's
Exactly.
perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect, and we have to figure out what our baggage is that we have, so that we
Right.
don't walk up to somebody else and go shove their baggage in their face and like deal with it, because that's not how it works.
Exactly. Again, like I opened the show. If I have a problem, we all should have a problem. Meaning, if I'm in a relationship and I have a problem or you have a problem, we have a problem.
Right.
At least that's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be that way. If I have a problem or you have a problem, we have a problem. This is
Exactly.
how the relationship thrives. This is how the relationship wins.
Yeah.
When we
And
place the relationship first and we sell out to the relationship, it's not going to work with me being an individual in the relationship.
yeah. See,
You
you
still
were
there's two different individuals in the relationship. You have to have your own individuality, but you can't be an individual selfish person
yeah.
for yourself and all your needs. Put the relationship first.
Mm. See, you were talking to didn't give me a chance to warn Slash. Slash said, "Where's Miss Kathy?" All of a sudden, so Princess Coach D is the real MVP, and Miss Kathy said, "Slash, I'm here listening, but I will entertain your question. Yes, we are
Oh
supportive.
shit.
Unfortunately, some men are non-supportive. The woman has her own and doing her thing." Yeah,
Okay.
Slash,
Let's
she ain't
highlight
the
that
one.
great
Yeah,
reply. Let's highlight that great reply.
yeah. Slash, she ain't not the one.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
stuff, Kathy. Good stuff. Good stuff.
And here's the thing: some men wouldn't know a supportive spouse if it slapped him upside the head on a Friday night. You know,
I'm glad
they
you
don't know
said
what to
something, man. I'm glad you said something, man. Yeah.
do. it, because here's the thing, and it goes back to the were you raised in love or were you raised in survival, right?
Right.
Because somebody raised in love will easily can work with somebody who's raised in love. Somebody raised in love is
Absolutely.
going to have a hard time with somebody raised in survival because there's generational trauma that has to be dealt with first.
For the latecomers, I need you to back it up and tell the folks what it looks like as far as dealing with what you just said.
Being raised in love.
What does it look
So
like?
being raised in love is somebody who was supported throughout your childhood into adulthood. You never worried about who you were, if your family loved you. You didn't have any issues with knowing where your food was coming from, knowing if you had water, lights, all that stuff, right?
Right.
You grew up in a safe, secure household. It doesn't matter if there's one parent or two parent. It was a safe, secure household where you knew you were loved and taken care of, right?
Absolutely.
Whereas growing up in survival, you didn't have that safe, secure household. You didn't know there may be food insecurity, there may be homelessness, there may be addiction, there may be all these
Right.
things, and these things affect how you interact with relationships later on in life.
Exactly.
Right? People, and you'll
Exactly.
hear people
That's
all
a
the time like,
carryover. We call
well,
that a
yeah,
carryover. Yep.
yeah. You'll hear people all the time like, well, I lived through it and I survived. I'm like, yeah, you survived, but you did not thrive. So you
That's
need to
deep.
get to where you can thrive.
Right.
And a lot of people do not understand that thriving
Right.
looks very different. Like I went home, um, I haven't been home since probably '08 for a very good reason. My parents are very toxic. And
Right.
so now my parents have Alzheimer's, dementia. So it's worse than it was as a kid. And it was like, I was there for 2 weeks and it was so draining that my sister's like, maybe you come over to my house the last night. And just leaving, there's like a feeling, you could feel the tension leaving your body.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like it's, and people don't understand that when you grow up in that, you bring that when you
Right.
have other relationships, right?
And this
I
is what
have
I was talking about as
therapy on
far as
therapy to get rid of this. Yeah.
exactly. And this is what I was speaking on when you finally reach a high level of yourself and you go into the next realm
Hmm.
in your stages, you're not you always hear people talk about peace. But if you
Hmm.
truly have peace within, you're gonna be overprotective of your surroundings. You're gonna
Hmm.
be very overprotective of who comes to your home, everything,
Yeah.
because you don't want to be involved in that.
No, not at all.
You don't
And
want you
Kathy
don't want
says
none of
it.
that stuff to jump off on you. And that's not being arrogant. That's not being, oh, you think you better. No, you've done the work.
Yeah.
You've done the work.
And here's the
So,
problem.
don't
We
allow
need,
people to make you feel less than because you've done the work on yourself.
yeah,
How,
we
how
need to
crazy is that?
normalize. Yeah, we need to normalize keeping toxic people out of our
Thank you.
circles. It doesn't
Thank you.
matter if your parent, your cousin, your sister. It don't matter if they're blood. If they're toxic, they're toxic.
It's it.
Right? So
That's it.
people are harmful, and people need to understand that you can't tell somebody who's being harmed by somebody to allow that person to harm them. Like, just thinking about that just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah,
it.
I know they
Give an
call you down
example.
to the lowest, but, you know. So
I
here's
give you an example. Someone
say you have
asked
an
me
abusive
about.
mother. Oh, you
I
have
give an
okay.
example.
I was going to give you one. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What you say?
I was going to give you one, but go ahead with your example.
I give an example. Someone asked me about why they always see me, working out alone and all this other stuff. I had to remove myself from everyone to thrive in this recovery.
Hmm.
I didn't need any distractions. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still, and at some point, I'm still in the critical stages here. If
Hmm.
something goes wrong, someone upsets me, the blood pressure goes in a different direction. It still be a bad situation for me. But that was me protecting myself. I
Yeah.
became a healthier person inside and out because I put up boundaries. I placed boundaries up. I put the walls up. Hey, listen, over here working, leave me alone.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with putting up boundaries and walls for your peace, for your healthiness. There's nothing wrong with
But not.
that.
Yeah. A lot of
Go
people
ahead.
are unable to do that because people
Exactly.
will bash them or beat them down. Kathy has
Absolutely.
a comment. It
Absolutely.
says, "It is a comfort of security in relationship. We look for that. If that is not there, it is and becomes an issue." Yeah, she's right.
That's it. She's absolutely right.
Listen, man, I like Kathy.
Hey, you gotta go on her show, man. She has a great show on Saturdays, right there on the AMP app, on the
Okay.
Amazon app. And it's a great show. Conversation
Okay,
with Kathy D.
I'm gonna check it
Huh?
out. I'm gonna check
Yeah,
it out.
check it out on
Her,
Saturdays.
her comments are hitting right on point. So you know
Good
me, I
stuff,
love
bro. Good
I
stuff.
love a smart black woman, and I will support a podcast, my sisters. But yeah,
There it is. Good stuff.
here's the thing. People are afraid to be alone. Some people are afraid to be alone. Let me
Right.
correct myself. So they get scared, and some people will settle for anything just to have something.
That's true.
And
That's true.
that's where they get into these messes of these homosexuals and these playboys and these build a man guys and all this
Hey, you know,
nonsense.
we were supposed to talk about the homosexual back when I totally forgot about that topic.
Listen, man, I found a book. I was on TikTok, and there's this woman called Priscilla. Here he goes. Priscilla L.R. Clark, and she has a
Uh,
book called The Game: 41 Shades of Men: The Pursuit to
is that
Subdue
right?
and Use the Pursuit to Subdue and Use You.
Is she a sister?
She is. I don't know if you can see that.
Okay.
Let me. There it is.
The
The
game.
Game.
Okay.
Listen, man, I was reading
Look,
through this.
was it well written?
Hmm.
Okay. Very
It's all.
informative.
It is very informative, and she is. Here's her homosexual test. So she goes, look for the following signs that you're dealing with a homosexual. 1, how much time does he have on his hands? Is he always available? If he has plenty of time to dedicate to you, this is a red flag. 2, is he on
Oh,
dating
okay.
apps? If so, how many and how long? A person who is constantly on dating sites and multiple ones at that time are looking for something specific.
Uh-oh.
3, who does he currently reside with? If he says anywhere but alone, this is a red flag number 1.
Mm.
4, does he pay his own bills at a place that is leased to him? 5, is he employed? Homosexuals can be employed. As a matter of fact, many are employed. Being employed with no place of his own is the red flag because typically this person will move into your place and then quit his job and pretend he can't find another.
Uh-oh.
But she's got list. Oh
Uh-oh.
yeah, this thing she got tests.
Hey, we
She had
should
a
talk about
whole.
that on another Messy Sunday.
Oh, definitely, man.
We
'cause
should
she's got a
actually
whole one.
we should talk about that on the next Messy Sunday and share the book with the folks. That's some good stuff.
Uh,
I like that.
She has a section on the passport bros, the hospice care man, the revenge man, the rebound man, the white girl man, the murder man, the fetish man. She has a whole list of the like. I was reading through this. I'm like, okay,
Wow.
because she talks about the psychology behind it and what's missing and all that stuff. So it's very interesting. It's not like a Kevin Samuels type thing, but it's very.
Right.
Steve Harvey would hate her book would love her book because she calls out men like he calls out men.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's
We should talk about that on Sunday.
yeah, sure. We
It's
can do
good
that.
stuff, man. Speaking of shows, man, the last show we did on America's Worst Kept Secret,
Mhm.
phenomenal. It was so good. When it aired on last Wednesday, I scheduled it to run again. That's how good it
Yeah.
was.
It
So
should
we really
because
appreciate you guys tuning into that show. Right there on the B2G Unity TV network, there on the Roku channel. It was real good, real good,
especially in light
real
of
good.
that last
We like to Coach D and I like to call it Informative Wednesdays. Go ahead, Coach D. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said in light of the last racially motivated shooting, the last hate crime.
I saw that. That was over in Jacksonville.
Yeah, yeah. It could have been
In
a lot worse.
Jacksonville.
There was a TikTok of him on the university campus before he got turned away in a bulletproof vest.
Wow.
So had he
Wow.
gotten to that university campus, we would have been probably bearing
Right.
a lot of somebody's babies. So
Exactly.
sadly, we're
Well,
still
our thoughts
bearing.
with the folks over it's an HBCU college over there in Jacksonville. Our thoughts are with you guys. So
Yeah.
maybe we should do that on the next Informative Wednesday, talking about this mass shooting again.
Racially motivated crimes. Yeah, we can bring up the
Exactly.
racially motivated crimes in the Green Book. But listen, it's
Exactly.
9:00. Little man has to grab his shower because it's back to school tomorrow. So I cannot linger tonight.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We appreciate you guys for tuning in right here on the B2G Unity TV network. Ready for the conversation with Trent and friends featuring the lovely Coach D. As always, as promised, hopefully we delivered this live to you guys. Very flawless. So good stuff. Thank you guys for coming back to check this out. So we'll be doing another live, but Coach Dee and I focused on actually pre-records and whatnot. So we'll do a live and what have you, just to let you guys see us. But we really want you guys to go over to the B2D the TV network right there on the Roku channel, streaming 24/7 on demand and whatnot and all that good stuff. So you could also catch these shows live on the Roku channel right now. So good stuff. B2GUnityTV.com. Good stuff. Any closing remarks, Coach Dee?
Always be aware of what you're willing to deal with and what your boundaries are, and watch out for red flags. Red flag in the beginning is red flag in the end.
There it is. My teachable moment for tonight is sell out to the relationship. Be an individual in a relationship, but you also have to be an individual to yourself. Be truthful to yourself first. That way you can sell out to the relationship. Yeah. Place your needs. It's okay to place your needs there, but don't put them in front of the relationship. The moment you put your needs in front of the relationship fails. And I speak from experience for that one.
All right. I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great night. Thank you to all the listeners. Thank you for all the commenters. And I will see you guys in our taped one, but I'll see you live next Sunday.
Absolutely. You guys be epic.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.